It was a strange and frightening story from overnight. A Denver police officer shot by a man in handcuffs, a man who had just been arrested and searched after allegedly stealing a car.
9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow talks with the Denver police chief about how something like this could happen.
The story began rather routinely at the intersection of Lowell Boulevard and Iowa Avenue in southwest Denver.
Our officers are out there every day doing very dangerous police work.
That's where Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas says 2 of his officers pulled over a man in a stolen car right around 9 o'clock Monday night.
He was then taken into custody and searched incident to arrest. During that search incident to arrest, a handgun was recovered from him as well as a large quantity of suspected narcotics.
Thomas says the officers then took the suspect in handcuffs to the Denver jail. When they got there right around 11, they started taking the suspect out of their patrol car. And that's when a routine arrest turned into a violent exchange.
As they were removing him from the vehicle, he somehow was able to access another weapon and fire at least 1 round, striking one of the officers in the neck.
Thomas says another officer then returned fire, hitting the suspect several times. Thomas says right now they don't know where exactly the suspect was hiding his second gun or how the officers missed it when they searched him.
Well, I mean, certainly uncommon, but not out of the realm of possibility.
In fact, a similar thing happened in 2014 when a man was arrested on drug charges and taken in handcuffs to a Denver police station. Once in the parking lot, the suspect pulled out a gun and fired at officers, none of whom was hit. Denver police say their officers are trained when doing a body search to be aware that a suspect could have more than one weapon. Late this afternoon, police identified the suspect as 33-year-old Daniel Cheeseman. He's now in critical condition but stable at the hospital. The officer who was shot was released from the hospital this morning. Kim and Tom.
They make it sound like it's something that could happen. It's certainly something that doesn't seem to us that's something that should happen.
It happens very rarely, but more often than it should, Tom. I'm told that the training is finish the search for all officers. Apparently, in this case, the search was not finished.
It'll be something that more officers pay attention to now, that's for sure.
Scary stuff. Thanks, Matt.
Right now, a suspect in Boulder County is in custody. This after barricading himself in a home for several hours overnight. Boulder police say they've arrested John Lee Fleming. It happened around 1 a.m. when they took him into custody, but the whole thing started at about 9:15 last night. Lafayette police calling in a possible hostage situation at a home off of Broadway, just about a mile north of downtown Boulder. The officers responded, and they say got 2 people out of the home safely. A Boulder officer did fire shots, but no one was hurt. Police say Fleming eventually surrendered.
It took a little bit longer because the information we had indicated that the suspect inside was armed with multiple long guns. So we were taking all the precautions necessary this evening to take him safely into custody.
Boulder police searched the home today. They say they did not find any explosive devices, but they did find several firearms and swords. The Boulder County Critical Incident Response Team will now investigate the situation. The officer who fired their weapon is now on paid administrative leave. Well, this morning, that was a slow drive for many because of the snow overnight. Your drive home, though, probably won't be as bad. Many roads now dry after the snow checked out early this morning. Let's now take a live look up in the high country. You can see the roads aren't looking too bad up near the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels. This is on I-70. You can get a look at the snow, meaning, well, good skiing, which isn't always good for driving, but not that bad.
Yeah, they don't always go hand in hand. However, Kathy, you told us it was coming, and we got it out, and hopefully things are kind of improving after this.
And hopefully it won't be good sledding weather tonight, and I mean in your car on the potential
that sledding
black ice.
I've never enjoyed. Never enjoyed that kind of sledding.
And unfortunately, you guys, not enough snow that kiddos didn't get snow days like we were thinking, or a delayed start, and not enough snow to really do a lot of sledding in Denver. But we were forecasting 2 to 4 inches of snow, and that's what we got. You had to go west, you had to go high to get into the snow that was good enough to ski on and sled on. But with these clearing skies tonight, as you can imagine, temperatures are going to drop like a rock tonight. We have the potential for wind chill values to go lower as well. Look at the snow in the high country still coming down. Winter storm warning remains in effect through 5 o'clock there. Handful of totals, give you an idea of how we did with this storm, and I'll have a lot more coming up in Maine weather. DIA under 2 inches, 4.5 in Ken Carl. How do you guys say it? Carol or Carl?
I say Carl, but I'm sure that's wrong. I am.
So call in
I think
or
it's
email
Carol.
us. I think it is too. Ken Carroll.
I think
It
I
is
say
Carol.
Ken. No, I say Ken
Let us
Carroll,
know.
but it is Ken Carl.
I know that you're going to let us know. You will. All right, you guys. Arvada, 3.2 inches, 5.2 in Genesee. Highlands Ranch, almost 3 inches of snow. Temperatures are cold. I mean, well, not as cold as it was this morning. We actually made it to 21. That's our high for the day so far. But we are headed into the single digits tonight with wind chills below zero. Radar showing that the snow is still falling, but coming to an end from north to south. All of the heavy snow remains up in the high country and south of Colorado Springs and Pueblo. So clearing, snow ending, bitter cold tonight for some areas. Temperatures trending down between now and 9 o'clock. And in Maine weather, I'll have more snow totals. Hopefully your town will be mentioned. Again, we're going to tell you how low the numbers go tonight. And slow warming trend, you guys. I'm going to look out to the weekend because Tom's been asking me about that, Kim, since Monday, which was yesterday.
Well, he's been practicing his parade wave. That's why.
Go.
Just so you know, I just say Kenny C or Kenny the C when
Okay.
I'm talking about.
For Ken Carroll.
Yeah, because
Ken Carl.
otherwise, it's one of those names in Colorado. There's so many of them that no matter what you say, you're wrong.
I know.
And somebody's going to argue.
Well,
with
yeah,
you,
and they're
maybe.
not happy about it.
Okay.
Kenny the C, how you doing out there today?
I love it. I love it. You got several inches of snow in Kenny the Sea.
Thanks, Kathy.
Police cited a teenager for assault after he allegedly kicked another player in the head at a hockey match in Littleton. That player, a 15-year-old boy, is okay.
The whole thing's caught on video. It led the referees to call the game over the weekend. It was the second period. Game between Denver East JV club team and the Arapahoe Warriors, and no one had scored yet. But on the video, the Denver East player, Xander Keenan, falls to the ice. And that's when the Arapahoe player kicks him in the head with his skate 3 times. Other players do come over finally and intervene. Xander's coach says he's okay. He does have some bruising on his head, but obviously is lucky that it wasn't worse.
Kicking in hockey is very, very bad. You're basically have an extremely hard boot on your foot with an extremely hard front end and a knife blade all down the bottom of it.
So the Arapahoe player told police he realized he, quote, probably could have killed the 15-year-old. The referees escorted both teams off the premises to avoid any sort of fight. Colorado's Amateur Hockey Association says the Arapahoe player could face a 10-game suspension. A representative for his team says they're going to try to use this as a learning experience for the rest of the players on things like how to handle your emotions during a game.
Today, Democratic Senator Michael Bennet spoke about the Club Q victims and the safe space that was violated by the mass shooting in Colorado Springs.
And I was going to come down here, Madam President, to talk about how over decades my state has led the way on equality. Club Q's owner, Nick Gierzeka, said he founded the club to be, quote, a safe place for people to come and feel and understand that they are normal, that the way they feel is normal, and that there are people just like them.
Bennett added this about the victims, their families, and the heroes that stopped the shooter.
Richard Fierro, an Iraq and Afghanistan combat veteran, was watching a friend's performance with his wife, daughter, and friends inside the club when the gunfire started. And his protective instincts, Richard's protective instincts, from 4 combat deployments kicked in. He said he went into combat mode. No one enjoying a night with their friends and their family should have to go into combat mode in the United States of America.
Bennett made his comments while on the floor for the debate for the Respect for Marriage Act, currently being considered by the Senate.
The suspect in the Club Q shooting is facing charges for murder as well as bias-motivated crimes.
And data shows that we're seeing more of these attacks against the LGBTQ community over the last 5 years. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Azari joins us now. And Jaleesa, this sounds like we're seeing an uptick, and it's a pretty big one.
It is. We looked over data from the Colorado Bureau of Investigations as well as the Anti-Defamation League. Both show a big increase in reported LGBTQ plus hate crimes. Now the question remains is why?
No matter how fast life moves, certain things force people to stop. For Jeremy Shaver,
the political climate certainly plays into that, absolutely.
It's the increase in hate crimes here in Colorado.
We know that the issue is bigger in Colorado than I think previous data pointed out.
Shaver is a senior associate director for the Anti-Defamation League, or ADL. According to data from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation's LGBTQ+ related hate crimes that were reported jumped from 16 in 2017 to 92 in 2021. That's a 475% increase in 4 years.
LGBTQ community leaders have been ringing the alarm bells, saying that the increase in hateful rhetoric and targeting of the LGBTQ community is putting those communities in danger.
Shaver says the ADL partnered with Hate Free Colorado to survey thousands. The survey found 4 in 10 LGBTQ+ Coloradans reported being victims of a hate crime or hate-based experience in the last 5 years. For Marty Moore, the executive director of LGBTQ nonprofit Out Boulder County,
what's the other word for hell?
These stats are not surprising.
The political rhetoric that is happening right now that involves LGBT people and trans people in particular is harmful to society, and it can lead to murder and violence, as was just experienced in Colorado Springs.
There is not one single solution to stop hate, but with a change in how it's addressed, maybe there can be a change in perspective.
And what our community needs right now is great allies stopping harmful conversations.
It is important to note that although we are seeing a big increase in numbers, hate crime reporting may have improved during that time, meaning there could be more hate crimes happening or that we just know about more of them. Police departments and other organizations may have put resources in place to make reporting easier. And Kim and Tom, still so far in 2022, 1 in 4 hate crimes reported in Colorado were against a person in the LGBTQ+ community.
The number of hate crimes, our understanding of hate crimes, and the threshold for hate crimes, all are things that are still evolving in the minds of many Americans.
It definitely is, and I think that's why conversations are incredibly important right now, and that's what Marty Moore, the executive director of Out Boulder County, says. We need to have these conversations because also people don't understand what's harmful, you know?
Yeah.
So perspective and enlightenment is key here.
Be empowered that way. It's interesting how it's really hard to put these numbers, like if it is better reporting or what's changed, but what they said specifically is like they've been raising the red flag. It's like, come on, and it's sad that it would take something like this mass shooting for everybody to say, oh, wait, this is serious.
And that's the biggest concern, is that this has been a 5-year trend,
Yeah.
So this is something they've been noticing over the last 5 years, just slowly increase it. But now it takes this to actually start.
In their
having
mind,
those
is a 5-year trend a short window or is it a large window when you can think of broader history? I think it's debatable if that's a little window or a big window we're looking at.
I think it's debatable as well. I think it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
I know that the Anti-Defamation League said prior to this 5-year trend, we were at a low. Colorado in itself was at a low when it came to these things. So the fact that now we're seeing this steady increase now, that is incredibly concerning for them.
We are continuing to talk about it. Thank you, Jaleesa.